Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I remind you of the last thing we did explain, which is talk to someone who knows. We said talk to someone who knows is a direct contact with someone. Who is this someone who knows? We said someone experienced, someone who has experience in the area you want to research. And also he said this person could be a lecturer teaching your translation course, or also could be someone who has experience in writing research. He also said that you are fortunate enough to be in a translation studies department. انتوا بقسم الترجمة محظوظين. Why? Why you are fortunate enough? There will be a number of active researchers you can approach, you can contact with. While you may feel awe of people whose names appear in journals and on books, on book covers, they will be, in most cases, they will be delighted to talk to someone interested in their work. يعني you feel awe, قلنا راهب وكذا, but in fact they will be glad, they will be delighted to talk to someone interested in their own work. What kind of communication? بينا إنه هي face-to-face communication. What else? I explained face-to-face communication. This is the first way. He said it is the easiest way to discuss and develop ideas. Exchange information, generally get a feel for the parameters of the area you are considering researching. Then there is another way, which is an alternative way. This alternative way is to send an email, And we said there are privileges for this way and weaknesses for this way, for you as students. What are its privileges? In privileges, you may contact with colleagues from other cultures. The weakness is that those colleagues can get inundated by emails. Why? Because they cannot answer you immediately until they قلنا inundated لا يتم إشعاره أو إخباره بنفس الوقت, in the same time, just like when you call someone or when you talk to someone. You have to be careful of also observe basic email etiquettes. He said you have to observe what is acceptable in their culture, how to call them, do they accept to be called by the first name or not? And I mentioned that, I explained that what's different between our culture and someone else's culture, like what we know, because you are studying English, so we concentrate on countries that speak English. What else we have? We have check out other resources. It's a resource to talk to someone who knows. This is a resource. قلنا resources, مصادر, موارد for knowledge here. كل طالب يكتب بحث في تخصص معين المفروض يكون عنده علم بالمصدر اللي ياخذ منه البحوث، المقالات، الكتب، إذا كان أدب، إذا كان جغرافيا، وهكذا أي تخصص آخر. في هذا الجزء، في هذا السكشن، the writer gave you a good number of journals, of periodicals that publish studies in translation. He divided these studies into two types. The first group are those journals that discuss translation generally and discuss language generally. This is number 1, across languages and cultures. This is number 2, Babel, language international. number 3, هاي تحفظوها. I don't know how to pronounce this, it's not English. Meta, okay? perspectives studies in translatology, target, the translator, TTR. Those are the first group of the resources. The second one, you can find them published and you can find them on the internet. The other group, which are specialized journals, وjournal هنا مو جريدة بالنسبة للطلاب اللي ما أخذتهم. journal مو جريدة, journal periodical, مجلة علمية تنشر بحوث ودراسات. Number 1, International Journal of Corpus Linguistics. Number 2, International Journal of Lexicography. Number 3, Interpreting for Languages in Contrast. Machine Translation. شوفوا Machine Translation منو اللي كتب بحث عن Machine Translation؟ فتخيلوا لو أنتم كتبتوا بحث عن Machine Translation إن شاء الله بالرابع، كم المقالات والدراسات والبحوث اللي موجودة بهذه البريوديكال. لأن هاي البريوديكال إذا كانت فصلية مثلا published in April, published in autumn, in winter, in summer, in spring. So in one issue you can find at least 50 papers, 50 studies, 50 articles, and you can choose a lot of you can choose from it. Terminology also, it's another also is one of the specialized journals. Something else also is what another resource is what a National Translators Association in our country, which is in Iraq. We have جمعية المترجمين, we have بيت الحكمة. Those are National Translators Association. Why it is a resource? It is a resource because when you get a membership, as he mentioned here, a student membership, إذا عنده يعني عضوية طالب، إذا عندهم كقسم الترجمة طبعا يفضلون على الأقسام الباقية. So you can attend the workshops, you can attend the seminars, you can attend the conferences, and you can listen to new ideas, you can listen to discussions, you can listen to a lot of topics and you can discuss with them. So also it enlightens you to get new topics since you are at the first step of choosing a topic and arranging your own plan. هذا داخل بالامتحان. Hence, after mentioning the colleagues in translation studies اللي ذكرناها, talk to someone who knows, you have the library. The library is a very important resource. Though in the library, there is something called interlibrarian loan section of your university, interlibrarian loan section of your university, college library. This is something essential. This is something very important for research. So helpful, of course. What else? The last thing are, the last resources are discussion groups, databases, websites, homepages. You depend only on websites. You depend only on Google. In fact, it is some looking for information is not that simple. Looking for information should be various. من البحوث الجيدة إنه المصادر بيها متنوعة. Read critically ما داخل بالامتحان. بس احنا حناخذ راح أشرح لكم إياه. طيب هو يدخل بالنهائي. Read critically divided kinds of readings into skim reading, into a gist read, into reading, just like reading a recipe also is one of kinds of readings, into scanning or scanning a timetable or a certain sheet, sample a history book, read a key text. I'll explain all these. At the beginning, reading, he said, is simply a processing information. What is a processing information? A processing information means a process of, let's write something here for you. Yes. Processing means purification. Yes. Pardon. Purification. It means development. So processing means also development. Processing means what? What else? When you say reading is simply a processing information, purification, and development. So you purify the information you get from your reading, and you develop this information. Also clarification. You purify what you need for your paper. You purify your choices. Also, you develop this information that you have chosen. Then you clarify for the reader. Who are the reader? Who are the readers of your papers? Who? The scholar community. The scholars community is your readers. منو يقرأ البحوث؟ منو يقرأ البحوث؟ يسموه scholarship community أو scholars community. طيب. What you do when you present them your paper? When you present them your paper, it is your aim is to change their point of view about a certain issue, about a certain idea. This is your paper. They have this is your study. This is the aim of your study at the end. Because if you will discuss a known idea, a known topic, something general, what's the new? I'm not saying that you will invent something. No, it's not to invent something, but to develop what you take. طيب. Now, the first kind of reading is a skim reading. Just like, for example, هو كل نوع منطيكم إياه مشبهة بالمادة اللي تقرأ بهذه الطريقة. بعدين شي يسوي؟ يقول لك هاي الطرق اللي أنت تستخدمها لقراءة هذه المواد، الصحف الكذا، وصفات الطعام، هي نفسها تستخدمها عندما تقرأ من أجل فهم موضوعك، وفهم وترتيب الخطة وتقديم الموضوع وتطويره. So he said, number one, we may skim a newspaper. Skimming is to do what? To get an overview. To get an overview, to get a summary. Newspaper من نقراها ناخذ فكرة عامة. You do the same. Skimming. What is skimming? Skimming, ضعف الأم وضيف ing. What is skimming? Skimming is to get an overview of a certain idea, of a certain subject, to get a summary of this subject, to understand. يعني نفهم هذا الموضوع. Skim تشبه كلمة to skim milk from its butter. Number two, just read a report on a university. بالدليل من قدمته للكلية ورحتوا بحثتوا بالدليل وشفتوا الجامعة المناسبة. So حتى تفهمون العروض اللي مقدمتها. طبعا هم يسموها عروض لأن هم جامعاتهم كلها بفلوس، فكل جامعة مقدمة عروض معينة ويعطون أشياء تشجيعية للطلاب حتى ينضمون يكسبون طلاب. أنتوا بطريقة أخرى لا تريد تعرف الجامعة مناسبة لمعدلك أو كذا. So you just read a report on university reform to understand the main proposals. What is just read? Again, to get the summary, to get the general idea, to see what suits you, to see, is this text suitable for you? Does this text discuss the topic you want. مثلا الtopic مالتك عن machine translation, the drawbacks of machine translation, comparison of machine translation with human translation. For example, Google Translate, التطبق على Google Translate. So when you get a text, when you get an article or a paper, هذا just reading will help you to understand, does this text, does this paper, does this study, does this article suitable, discusses this topic, so you can go on reading extensively to understand. Number 3, scanning. Scanning مثل التايم تيبل، الجدول. شو نسوي له احنا للجدول؟ نبحث عن اليوم، الساعة، القاعة اللي احنا نريد ندخل لها. So you use this kind of reading, scanning, in order to do what? To extract, استخراج the detailed information we require as quickly as possible. إذن هي أيضا من أنواع القراءة السريعة. skimming هذه quick reading, we just read a quick reading. Scanning also is a quick reading. There is another kind of reading, which is you read and you read again. When you read a recipe repeatedly, جماعة طلاب القسم الداخلي مثلا وعجبهم فد يطبخون فد أكلة معينة، شو يسوون؟ يختارون وصفة معينة ويقرأها أكثر من مرة حتى يطبق الوصفة. So you do this. مو الأولى للبحث إنه إحنا نقرأ حتى يكون أيضا عملنا دقيق. So we read a recipe repeatedly. You read repeatedly a certain article. You read repeatedly a certain paper. After you are sure that this paper discusses the same issue you are looking for, the same subject you are looking for. There is another kind of reading which is sample, a history book, to ascertain if it contains relevant information for our purposes. شنو sample؟ هذا verb. Sample يعني survey. A history book, again, it is that kind of quick reading. نوع من أنواع القراءة السريعة. A history book، كتاب التاريخ شلون نقرأ؟ نقرأ بهذه الطريقة لأخذ معلومات معينة. To see if it contains information that are relevant for our study. الدراسة اللي أريد أكتب عنها بيها موجودة بهذا الكتاب، شرح عنها، معلومات، مناقشات. طيب هاي يسموها sample reading، عفوا sample reading. طيب النوع الآخر sample reading اللي هي قراءة surveying، وأيضا scanning can mean scanning. To start your research, you need to read something very important. What is this that is very important? You read a key text. We may read a key text in the field extensively in order to understand the various layers of meaning encoded. What is a key text? What is a key text? A body text. A key text means a body text or a main text. يعني مثلا بالرواية من أخذته The Return of the Native وأخذته The Old Man and the Sea. من نتكلم عن symbolism in The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. If I gave you the definition of symbolism, you will not be able to understand completely how did Hemingway treat symbolism in the novella, The Old Man and the Sea. When I tell you that there is personification in The Return of the Native, in this personification, you will get a definition, you will get an example, but then without discussing personification in The Return of the Native, how is the environment was personified, how does it breathe, how does it control people, how it is sad, happy. You will not be able to understand the personification. And if you understood the definition, we would do something not complete by not discussing the text itself. The key text will be The Return of the Native, the text by Hardy. The key text will be The Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway. هذا يسموه الكي تكست، النص الرئيسي، النص الأصلي، النص اللي عليه التحليل. من طالب يجي يسوي بحث على الترجمة التجارية، ترجمة الإعلانات، من هو الكي تكست مالته؟ his key texts are the advertisements. من طالب يكتب بحث عن الماشين ترانسليشن والمقارنة اللي مثال ذكرت لكم إياه، مقارنة مع، شوفوا أنا إيش قد اعطيتكم مواضيع هسه من بداية الكورس لحد الآن. من يجي يناقش مع أو يقارنه مع human translation، الكي تكست مالته منه يختار. طبعا أكيد يعني لما يختار ترجمة أيضا لازم تكون متخصصة في فيلد معين، هذا الفيلد شنو وهاي الاريا شنو، حسب أنواع الترجمة اللي أخذتوها. حتى الإعلانات، أي نوع إعلانات لازم يحددها، أي نوع، لازم تكون واضحة أي نوع إعلانات، مو إعلانات يعني عفوا mixture of advertisements. فهو يختار مجال معين، إذا كان هي نفسها ترجمة الإعلانات ويطبق عليها الماشين ترانسليشن ويطبق عليها الهيومن ترانسليشن. فالبودي تكست مالته، المين تكست، الكي تكست، هو حيكون هذه الإعلانات. So when he بدأ هذه الجملة مالته شو يقول when you start reading for your research project we may read a key text extensively يعني شنو؟ يعني thoroughly، يعني with details in order to understand the various layers of meaning encoded in it, the various levels of meaning encoded, hidden, concealed in it. تبلكم concealed. concealed in this text. إذا معناها كيف حتكون نوعية القراءة؟ intensively. Intensively it means thoroughly, deeply. من أول ما أشوف المفردة في القاموس إلى بعدين أحدد المفردات، نفس قراءة الرواية اللي علمت لكم إياها بالكورس اللي ماضي، واللي استفاد من التعليمات اللي أعطيتكم إياها راح يستفيد من هو يبدي يكتب بحث. النص الأصلي اللي هو الكي تكست يسموه، كي هاي مو مفتاح، دير بالكم، البادي تكست اللي النص اللي عليه الدراسة وعليه التحليل. بعدين يستخرجها بالقاموس، واحتمال يحتاج أكثر من قاموس، يقراها مرة ثالثة، مرة ثانية بهذه المعاني اللي استخرجها، يبدي يستوعب أكثر، يبدي يفهم أكثر، حتى من يجي يكتب وراح يحتاج قراءة ثالثة. هاي القراءة الثالثة راح تكون قراءة للتقصي، قراءة للبحث، مو قراءة فقط لفهم المعاني. هذه القراءة اللي هي قراءة البحث. So he said at the end, the researcher will probably use all of these reading techniques. إذن هاي ايش طلعت؟ هسه هاي الأنواع اللي قلناها هاي reading techniques in the course of your studies. In the course of your studies. هذه أنواع القراءة يسموها reading techniques. فأنت عندك كلها مذكورة باراجراف واحد بسيط. بعدين قال جملة مهمة. Everyone reads for a purpose. Translators read texts in a different way from other members of the course target language community. Lawyers read documents in a different way from their clients. العميل أو الشخص اللي رافع دعوة أو المشتكي من يقرأ الوثائق قراءته تكون مختلفة عن قراءة المحامي. المترجم من يقرأ النصوص قراءته تكون مختلفة عن الشخص اللي أخذ الترجمة جاهزة، أو الشخص اللي دا يقرأها بلغتها الأصلية ودا يقرأها بلغتها الأصلية وما دا يترجم. المترجم قراءته تكون مختلفة. So it is important to keep in mind your purpose when you read a text for the first time. What is your purpose when you take a text and read it? You have to know what is your purpose. You have to define that purpose. إن شاء الله أكو هذا ما داخل بالامتحان، لكن عفوا هذا داخل بالامتحان. take full notes هو اللي ما داخل. pardon يعني فاتتني. take full notes هو اللي ما داخل مثل ما حددنا. هو نفس الصفحة. خلي نتأكد من الصفحة. أنتوا تمشون بأرقام الصفحات. 31 كلها داخلة ما عدا الأخير take full notes. هذا يدخل بالنهائي بعدين بالامتحان إن شاء الله. بعدين أدز لكم فيديو ثاني إن شاء الله. أي سؤال اسألوني. لا تكونون سلبيين، بس تسمعون وتسكتون. بالتوفيق.